All right. Well, so we heard. I guess we talked a couple weeks ago about how it's Apple Watch Series 10 is going to have this great new thinner design with a bigger display. Uh, that all sounds great. I am a fan of thin and light, especially if they can maintain the battery or increase the battery. But here's the bummer. Sounds like new health sensors won't arrive this year. So how can that be? Apple reportedly ran into problems with several health features it was working on for the Apple Watch. This year, the company planned to add a high blood pressure monitoring and sleep apnea detection to the Apple Watch. But according to Apple Scoop Machine, Mark Gurman in his newsletter, he said, quote, serious snags, close quote, could delay release of the features. I'll just quote from his piece, which is very distressing to me. The technology that measures high blood pressure or hypertension hasn't been as reliable as hoped during testing. That may force Apple to postpone the release beyond this year. There have been particular concerns about the blood pressure feature working properly with the new Series 10 design.
Mm.
He said also, even when the option does launch, it won't be a replacement for the blood pressure cuff that some consumers have at home. The mechanism isn't designed to give you an actual reading, unlike the heart rate and blood oxygen apps on the Apple Watch. Instead, it will figure out your baseline and monitor if your blood pressure is relatively high. Then you'll be able to take note of what you were doing when your reading spiked. I wonder what that would be.
I
So
can't
that sounds in line with a lot of things that Apple Watch does already, right? Like gives you a non-medical.
indication.
Yeah, it's monitoring constantly, which is awesome. And this actually sounds good. I mean, it's like, oh, I got 3 dings in a row from Slack, and my blood pressure went up 10 points, right? Or
Based on a
maybe
true story.
maybe more likely 50 points. Uh, so that actually, even if it's not an exact reading, that would be very, very helpful for a lot of people. Just like having, blood glucose
Yeah.
monitoring constantly throughout your day and week, whatever, would be very helpful for people. It helps them, connect their actions or things that happen to them with their physical health. So anyway, that's a big bummer. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. I would love to have that in there. Scared to go get my blood pressure checked. Anyway, so this is a funny one. The sleep apnea detection might not debut in this watch because it relies on monitoring your blood oxygenation level, which of course Apple
Ah.
had to remove that from Series 9 and Apple Watch Ultra because of this ongoing patent dispute. So it sounds like
Dude,
that
I
feature.
wonder when that's going to be rolled up. I
I
mean,
know. How can they?
What
They
are they
can't
doing? Come on, just
just
pony
buy
up.
the
Just give them
company.
a check and let it and move on. This
well,
is
who knows how
ridiculous
much
if it
money this
affects.
company wants? I mean, if they're saying that they own the patent and Apple has to pay them, they could literally set whatever price they want.
Okay, Apple has that amount of money. I guarantee it. The biggest number anybody at Massimo comes up with, Apple has that amount of money. Like it's if this affects 2 generations of Apple Watch, I think I'll be kind of irritated. I'm not even planning on buying an Apple Watch this year, but like, come on, guys, figure this out. It's been almost a year.
I
Yeah.
know
Can you
it's crazy
imagine?
how long it's dragging
Can
out.
you imagine it comes out and it has the exact same features as last time? It's just slightly bigger and slightly. I'm sure the display will be, the best display ever on an Apple Watch. It'll be, brighter and bigger and everything else, and it'll look a lot like the current watches. And I mean,
I,
it'll be. I'm sure it'll be slightly better, just like every watch the last 5 years, slightly better.
that's what the Series 7 was. Like I had the Series 7. And its only new feature was like the display was like what, zero point 0.2 inches larger than the one before it.
This
And
is
I was
every
happy.
year.
They,
I don't even
Apple
think they made the
arbitrarily.
display bigger on the 7, did they?
They did only slightly bigger, and that's why they said that this Watch Series 7 can show a full QWERTY keyboard, and the Series 6, which is zero point
Oh,
0.2 smaller, couldn't.
oh,
But I think that's also when they moved it from like 40 to 41 millimeters, something like that. But like, it also
oh,
begs the
right,
question: why does Apple feel like they need to update the Apple Watch every single year? If the updates are so tiny, I don't think anybody would, be upset if it's like, yeah, well, we could make a watch that's basically the same, or we could just keep selling the same one for another six
I mean,
months.
I think the question answers itself. I mean,
right.
because they need to maintain the facade of of newness so that people keep buying them. And every time there's a quote unquote new watch, like even if people who know Apple Watches and the features and what features are new or not, well, people who
I think people already keep their Apple Watches for like 5 or 6 years.
I know, but they constantly have to keep dangling that carrot. And so people who don't follow that stuff just see new and they don't know what features are in the watch. Like, oh, it's new. I'll just get that one. Right. So they might be more motivated to buy that one. I mean, I'm planning on upgrading to the new Ultra probably when they release that one. Mine's almost 2 years old. There's nothing wrong with the Ultra that I have. But after 2 years, I'm like, okay, it has enough like small features that it might be worth upgrading. But I feel like with Apple Watch, this happens every single year. We hear about all these features that are going to be coming to it. A lot of them end up being software features and nothing huge from a hardware perspective. And this has been going on for so long. Like the one feature I think that was actually like a big one that was worth it was the always on display, which happened in the Series 5, I believe. Mm-hmm. And after that, I can't think of a feature that has been released that I have found to be personally useful.
Oh, yeah. But you don't have double tap, do you?
No, I keep trying
the marquee feature of the series now.
I don't yet, no. I want to be picking the invisible blueberries, but do you actually...
This is more like ashing the invisible cigarette.
Ashing the invisible cigarette. Are you walking around ashing, Lewis?
You know what?
Been a long
I gotta
time
say,
since I've ashed.
I read Griffin's how-to this week on
yeah.
What was it on? It was we published it like 6 months ago or something. We updated it and republished it.
Oh,
and
that was the one about the watchOS 10 smart widget stick.
Oh, right, the widgets. Yeah, and thank you for writing that, and screw me for not paying attention to it the first time I read it. But I went through it. I'm like, wow, this actually makes a lot of sense. And the double tap gesture, which brings that smart stack up, it's actually handy. It's actually handy. I've like never used it at all, but I found myself using it lately. In the privacy of my own home, of course. I don't think I'll be doing that in public. But
well, you will eventually. It's only a matter of time before you're out there picking the blueberries